All right, we're going a little different than usual today. We are going to do a little project. Now, if you guys have seen my previous videos before, I use this Magellan Livewell cooler, and it's not bad. It's got a hole for the aerator that goes through. You can put a battery pack on the side. This little tray container, I usually leave the tray container in there. That way when I'm reaching in here, if the shrimp pop up, they hit the back of this, they don't jump out. I've had a lot of shrimp jump out and into the water on me. So what I'm doing is mixing it up, and I want to be able to put a live well in the back of my kayak. And with that, I want to be able to move over to a crate. That way I can have a crate with rod holders in the back of the kayak and not rely on the Magellan being in the way and taking up the majority of the room. So right now, the only rod holders that I'm using are just the standard ones that are in here, and it tends to make the rods V out. I want to move over to a crate, to have a crate in the back. That way I can have vertical standing rods. That way it doesn't really matter if I come up side by side with a buddy. So to be able to move over to a live well setup, I'm going to use a handy dandy bucket, not sponsored. You guys could probably use any 5-gallon bucket out there. I've got a lid somewhere. My garage is just total chaos. It's in so many phases all the time. Believe you can find these lids at Walmart. I'm gonna see if this one fits. I really hope it does. Yeah. So I'm just gonna have this lid. What do we got over here? Multicolored bait nets. It looks like I paid maybe $6 for this lid at one point. But this is gonna be the lid that's on there for our live well in this process. So we'll take the lid off. I'll walk you through everything. I'm gonna put all the links for everything that I use in the description so that you guys can make this itself. And I haven't seen really one of these on the internet, so I'm kind of hoping that this starts a little drive and maybe people come up with some better ideas, better DIYs on some kayak live wells to utilize inside the crate. Cause those Hobie ones, $500? $500, come on. For the pump, what I'm using is a self-priming pump, and this is a refrigerator pump. This is for fresh water, and the one that I bought actually has a strainer. And if you look, this strainer fits perfect through the scupper, and that's gonna be able to bring us up the water that we're gonna be utilizing. So everything will be able to maintain within the crate through the standard holes, through the standard scupper holes. It should work. I'm gonna test this out tomorrow if I can get it all together. So I am working with 2 different hose lines. Hose line that's on here, it's a little flimsy and it's not too firm. So I upgraded to a little bit stronger hose line itself. And I bought all of this stuff from Lowe's. One stop shop. It's a polyethylene tubing. 165 PSI. We don't need 165 PSI. This is probably overkill and a lot. So, I mean, if this works, I'm gonna build a couple of these, but it's probably just gonna be to give them to my buddies in the area. I should be in like under $50, you know, like $5 for this. And I may have paid $10 a piece or $7 a piece for each of the tubings. And this was around $14 or $15. Yeah, so it looks all parts and everything included, about $30 for everything, not including the pump. So we'll just call it $50. Live well, DIY live well, under $50 for your kayak. And then some additional elbows that we're gonna use to put through here. All right, so we're gonna start off priming the first hole. This drill bit that's on here right now, it's a 27/64 drill bit. Literally just start off with whatever drill bit works best for you. There's no standard right or wrong, and I'm sure somebody out here is way handier than me on doing these kind of things. So pretty much I'm just gonna find the location where I'm gonna mount it. I'm thinking about mounting it where I believe the corner of a crate would be. That way everything will kind of sit flush. I don't wanna put it directly sideways. I have my estimated mark on the bucket. Really professional job here, right? You guys can see that, you know, I'm using a Sharpie and all the right tools and doing all the right stuff. So we're just gonna keep it all right, we're gonna step the size up, moving on to a 1/2-inch drill bit, come down to our hole. Now you can see where we got it sticking out. This is the inside of the bucket, so you can see how pretty flush it is. I have some E6000 that I'm gonna put around here, and just to make sure it stays watertight. But now that we have this side in, we can take our other elbow, the female side of it, and we're just gonna spin her into place. All right, once you get it into the position that you want, so this is gonna be my exterior drop down. The inside, I kind of have it angled sideways. I'm not gonna allow the water to fill all the way up the bucket. And the purpose of that is just center of gravity for the kayak itself. I do wanna keep the center of gravity a little bit lower. And I shouldn't be doing a lot of sloshing, so we're not really looking at stressing the bait fish or the shrimp out. So now that we have that done, we're gonna take this E6000, we're gonna go around the outside of it real quick. Got the exterior done all the way around, even the top part, which was a little bit harder because of that lip there. So you could probably shave that down if you want to. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get on the inside here. Now I could see potentially where I may have some issues with something clogging this up, and I'm talking like shrimp particles or something like that. If that happens, I'm just gonna have to figure out another system or what I'm gonna add, some kind of screen that I can put over it. Maybe I'll have to open the diameter up to 1/2 inch on each side. This is like prototype 1 DIY. I am not a professional. I just wanna get the community going in the right direction. Give us some extra options besides $500 live wells. Like, that is crazy, $500 live wells. Now we're gonna take the small diameter polyethylene, open it up. So the first part we're looking at, that we're gonna be looking at is this drain, replacing the initial hose line for it. This is gonna be the intake for the pump itself. And this is USB powered. So I'm probably gonna make a couple, and then I might try splicing where I could try to splice it into a battery power of a bubble box. But I do have some USB power packs, and I'm gonna be using the USB power packs to run this system. Now I've got some small power packs and I've got some very large power packs. So I'm gonna try them both out. Hopefully smaller is better. I even have one that's a power pack with a solar panel on top, and that might be something that I look into utilizing for this live well itself. Here you can see how the bucket is gonna be sitting in my kayak. I know I got some tension cords here that are kind of in the way, but this valve is going to dump straight down into the scupper. And right now I can see where it's hit. Really, I'm not gonna need any more. And this is just gonna be a first cut. Then right here for the initial intake tube. Actually, I think I'm gonna bring it up all the way to the top, take this snip, and then I'm just gonna have to look at how much of this is gonna be dangling down in the water once the pump starts. That'll be part of the trial and error that we go through. All right, so we have our mark for where we're gonna snip it. Just a general pair of shears. Come up through here, cut right through. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our new hose line, get approximately the same length, snip. The filter that came with it, we're gonna go ahead and pop that off, take our new sturdier hose line and just kind of force it in there. Now I won't be using any E6000 in case I can go on Amazon. Maybe I can find a bunch of these because I don't know how well the screen's gonna work. Like, is this gonna clog up way too fast? Part of that trial and error part. But if these work great, I'll probably have to buy a few of them. Then from there, this is the intake side of the pump. It originally came with this shorter piece, and we are not going to need the short piece. So now that we have our longer piece with the intake, press it in to our refrigerator pump. And now we have a longer, sturdier, thicker, more durable hose line that's not gonna get pinched. And now we have the hose line that's gonna actually be running into the bucket to provide the water. Fun fact, 1/4 inch is the inside diameter of the hose, so that's not what we need. All right, now to draw the proper 1/4 inch diameter hose line, it's gonna be a 21/64 on the drill bit. I didn't know that. I kind of had to go through a couple pieces till I figured it out. And then I'm gonna be drilling a hole into the lid that's gonna run that hose line. Now, since I'm gonna be operating the front of the lid, I'm gonna wanna move the pump line, the feed line, into the rear. So I'm gonna take one of these previously drilled holes that we have here, drill our hole through, check with our hose line, and that'll give us kind of a tight feel going through. So now back to our bucket, put our lid on, toy it like a tiger bear, insert our lid. We're going to run our hose line in, and now we're gonna get prepared for where we're gonna fit our pump. So I'm using these utility hooks from Lowe's. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these utility hooks, flip it upside down, and basically just pinch hold this on the exterior of the unit. Make sure I get it nice and covered. We want this to stick and hold. This may be a problem in the future if like the pump burns out and I gotta replace it. But like I said, this is prototype number 1 on making a budget-friendly live well. All right, and a little ingenuity, some zip ties and a pair of pliers holding the inside down. We should be on to something. All right, now while that's drying, we'll check back up on it in a couple hours and kind of see how it's going. All right, so I'm testing out the homemade live well today, and it's not starting off so hot. So I picked up the live shrimp, transported it in this cooler, bait well on an aerator, and by the time I got to the boat ramp, which is like 10 minutes later, the majority of my shrimp are already dead. So that's not a positive to start this out, but if it brings it back to life, we got something.